Chumlee, a beloved figure from Pawn Stars, recently stunned the world when he collapsed in court upon hearing his sentence. This shocking moment not only sent ripples through the Pawn Stars fanbase, but also sparked curiosity about the personal struggles and challenges Chumlee has faced. Today, we take a closer look at that dramatic courtroom scene and reflect on how Chumlee's life has evolved since his time on Pawn Stars. In this video, we'll dive into the events that led to this shocking incident, exploring why Chumlee faced punishment and the significant changes in his life over the years. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss the intriguing stories, mysteries, and unique challenges he's encountered along the way. Prepare to be amazed by what we're about to uncover. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the next video. Austin Chumlee Russell, the beloved star of Pawn Stars, has cemented his place in the hearts of TV fans everywhere. Known for his humor, easygoing nature, and one-of-a-kind personality, Chumlee captured the hearts of millions of viewers worldwide for over a decade. But after rising to fame, his life took a drastic turn as he faced serious legal challenges, opening up an entirely new and unexpected chapter in his life. Throughout his time on Pawn Stars, Chumlee was known not only for his hilarious one-liners and comedic situations, but also for carving out a reputation as a savvy collector. One standout moment came when he made the bold decision to buy a professional pinball machine, a move that left both the team and fans in awe. Beneath the playful clown persona, Chumlee quietly demonstrated his knowledge and expertise in the collectibles world, earning the respect of both his colleagues and the audience. Chumlee's fame extends beyond television, as he has successfully ventured into business with clothing lines, a candy brand, and live talk shows. These endeavors have earned him millions, with a significant portion of the profits helping him navigate the unexpected legal challenges he encountered. Despite his impressive success in business, however, Chumlee was not immune to personal struggles that would later shape his journey. As Pawn Stars soared to global fame, Chumlee entered a new phase of his career. Despite the success and recognition, he struggled with an internal battle that remained largely unseen by the public. Fame makes you think you're invincible, but in reality, I just wanted to find peace in life, Chumlee admitted. Personal challenges, mounting stress, and unforeseen legal issues forced him to confront a reality that no one, not even Chumlee himself, could have anticipated. Recently, Chumlee faced the darkest moment of his life when he entered the courtroom. The atmosphere grew tense as the judge prepared to deliver the final verdict. Upon hearing the announcement, Chumlee appeared overwhelmed, unable to accept the reality, and collapsed into a deep moment of reflection. The scene left everyone in the courtroom in stunned silence, the air thick with disbelief. This dramatic encounter between a beloved star and the justice system, with details previously unknown, will keep you on the edge of your seat. Despite facing numerous challenges, Chumlee has continued to earn the love and support of his fans. His genuine nature and unique personality have created a lasting connection with the audience. Though he no longer appears on screen as often, Chumlee remains an essential part of Pawn Stars, and his journey will always be remembered as a powerful testament to pursuing passions, overcoming obstacles, and navigating life's toughest moments. Chumlee, born Austin Russell, rose to fame thanks to his humor and relatable personality on Pawn Stars. As the show soared to new heights and Chumlee became a household name, his life took a dramatic turn. From his humble beginnings as a pawn shop employee, he transitioned into a life of luxury, acquiring expensive sports cars, a stunning mansion, and a remarkable collection of sneakers and jewelry that left many in awe. His extravagant shopping sprees and vibrant parties, shared widely on social media, quickly amassed millions of views, highlighting the stark contrast between his modest origins and his glamorous public persona. Chumlee became a household name not only for his hilarious moments on Pawn Stars, but also for the impressive growth of his personal brand. He opened a Chumlee candy store in Las Vegas and launched behind-the-scenes merchandise that fans eagerly embraced. However, with fame came mounting pressure, and Chumlee found it challenging to juggle his public image with his personal life. He candidly shared, "Fame makes you think you're invincible, but in reality, I just want to live a normal life." In March 2016, Chumlee's life took a dramatic turn when police raided his Las Vegas home as part of an investigation linked to sexual assault allegations. However, what truly shocked the public wasn't just the nature of the investigation, but what was uncovered during the search: items such as weapons and illegal substances. This revelation quickly became a trending topic on social media, prompting many to reassess their perception of the once-beloved TV star. Although Chumlee always appeared cheerful and carefree on Pawn Stars, his real life painted a completely different picture. Social media exploded when a fan commented, "Chumlee is always happy on TV, but in real life, he's a totally different person." This sharp contrast between Chumlee's public persona and his personal struggles left the public shocked, sparking questions about the future of both the star and the Pawn Stars show. Following the search, prosecutors filed multiple felony charges against Chumlee, including possession of firearms and drugs, offenses that carried potentially severe consequences. If convicted, Chumlee faced up to 20 years in prison. Beyond the legal shock, these charges posed a major threat to the public image Chumlee had carefully cultivated over the years. The case sent shockwaves through the fan community, leaving many wondering if the TV star could overcome this massive hurdle and rebuild his life. The events in Chumlee's life have not only raised questions about his future, but also about the future of Pawn Stars. This incident became a shocking saga, with the TV star facing major challenges both legally and personally. While Chumlee remains a beloved figure on screen, the uncertainty surrounding his ability to overcome these obstacles and continue his career remains an open question. Austin Chumlee Russell, the beloved star of Pawn Stars, found himself facing one of the darkest moments of his life as his career was severely threatened. Known for his comedic moments on television, Chumlee is now battling serious allegations that could completely shake the public image he's spent years building. Chumlee's troubles began in March 2016 when police raided his Las Vegas home as part of an investigation into sexual assault allegations. However, what truly shocked the public wasn't the nature of the initial investigation, but what was uncovered during the search, including weapons, drugs, and related items. These findings quickly became a trending topic on social media, causing many to question the stark contrast between Chumlee's public image and the reality of his personal life. Chumlee's story highlights the dangers and temptations that substances can pose, leading to unforeseen consequences, especially for public figures. What are your thoughts on his journey? Let us know in the comments. If you have a different perspective, feel free to share it with us. Want to hear about another story? Just drop a comment and let us know. The shift in Chumlee's image sent shockwaves through the public, not only because of the legal allegations but also due to the stark contrast between the charming, lovable figure viewers knew on Pawn Stars and his real-life persona. The public was forced to confront an undeniable truth. Chumlee wasn't always the friendly, approachable character portrayed on screen. Social media posts, Interviews and discussions surrounding the case have caused many fans to rethink their perception of the TV star. The prosecutor in Chumlee's trial stressed the gravity of the case by outlining the weapons and controlled substances discovered by police. Chumlee was accused of possessing firearms and illegal substances, which posed a significant danger. Legal experts predict that if convicted, he could face up to 20 years in prison. Although Chumlee's lawyer argued that he had no prior criminal record and no intent to cause harm, the situation remains incredibly serious. The trial became increasingly tense as plea negotiations began, with not only Chumlee's personal freedom on the line but also the future of his career. Intense discussions unfolded between the lawyers on both sides, weighing every possible outcome. Despite Chumlee's long and successful career in entertainment, his public image hung in the balance, with the potential for it to be completely shattered if convicted. Chumlee's career has long been intertwined with Pawn Stars, the reality TV show that captivated millions of viewers. Known for his friendliness and humor, he became a beloved figure. However, the reality behind his public image has deeply disappointed his fans. As personal and legal crises continue to unfold, Chumlee finds himself at a critical crossroads, facing a pivotal moment in both his life and career. This case is not just a legal battle. It's a stark reminder of how fragile public image can be and the truth that often lies behind the screen. Chumlee has become a testament to how quickly the personal lives and careers of TV stars can change, showing that sometimes fame can't mask the darker aspects of their lives. The future of both Chumlee and Pawn Stars remains uncertain, with the public still waiting to see if he can overcome this challenge and rebuild his life. On the final day of the trial, the courtroom was packed, with some fans holding signs in support of Chumlee, while others wore Pawn Stars logo shirts. The atmosphere was both lively and tense, reflecting the intense public interest in the case. Judge Michael Davidson presided over the sentencing, and as Chumlee stood at the defendant's podium, preparing to hear the final verdict, the air in the room grew thick with anticipation. Every sound, including the rustling of papers from the court clerk, was amplified in the heavy silence. Chumlee reached a plea deal with the prosecution, pleading guilty to one charge related to firearms and a lesser charge of possessing controlled substances, while other charges were dropped. Judge Davidson took into account the mitigating factors as well as the troubling behavior outlined in the case file. Although Chumlee acknowledged his guilt, the judge stressed the seriousness of possessing unregistered firearms and controlled substances, which posed a significant threat to the community. The judge sentenced Chumlee to 3 years of probation with strict conditions, including close monitoring, counseling, regular drug testing, and 200 hours of community service. Additionally, the judge ordered the permanent forfeiture of all items seized during the investigation. What shocked the courtroom, however, was the strict condition attached to Chumlee's sentence. If he violated any terms of his probation, he would be immediately sentenced to 3 years in prison without the possibility of a retrial. The judge, in a stern tone, delivered the final verdict. "Mr. Russell, I am sentencing you to 3 years of strict probation, and any violation will result in immediate incarceration for 3 years. It was a moment that hit Chumlee like a heavy blow, a massive shock after months of turmoil and the looming threat of a lengthy prison sentence. As the judge continued reading the terms of the sentence, Chumlee's suppressed emotions suddenly overwhelmed him. Sweat began to bead on his forehead, and his voice grew distant, barely audible as it was drowned out by the chaotic thoughts racing through his mind. Chumlee suddenly stumbled and collapsed right there in the courtroom. His lawyer rushed to his side, attempting to calm him, but it was too late. The reality TV star, once known for his humor and light-hearted demeanor, now lay motionless in front of everyone. Security staff quickly intervened, while the sound of his labored breathing filled the tense silence. Medical personnel were immediately called in. One rushed to bring water, while another cleared the path to make room. Photographers captured the dramatic scene, and images of Chumlee unconscious in court quickly made headlines across entertainment news. Chumlee's friend, Lee, who once shared countless laughs with millions of viewers, now watches as his friend faces the serious consequences of past actions. Chumlee's life and career are at a pivotal crossroads, with many unanswered questions hanging over his future, and that of Pawn Stars. This situation is not just a legal shock, but also a harsh reminder of the stark contrast between the public personas of reality TV stars and the complexities of their personal lives. Austin Chumlee Russell's legal crisis reached its breaking point in court as he faced serious charges, culminating in his dramatic collapse right at the seat of justice. The courtroom was thick with tension as the final verdict was delivered. After pleading guilty and being sentenced to 3 years of strict probation, Chumlee completely broke down, collapsing on the spot, leaving everyone in the courtroom stunned. The shocking scene quickly made headlines across entertainment news. After the incident, fans and colleagues of Chumlee were understandably concerned. Rick Harrison, his longtime friend and colleague, was seen visiting him in the days following the event. On social media, hashtags like #ChumleeMan and GaddenPawn quickly spread, generating an outpouring of support for Chumlee. 3 days later, despite still being shaken, Chumlee's familiar smile reappeared in a video statement recorded at his home. In the video, he openly addressed the situation, admitting to his past mistakes and showing the world a man willing to face his own challenges. Facing the consequences of my actions is something that scares me deeply, Chumlee shared in the video. I need to make better choices, and I know the doctor was right. These heartfelt confessions marked a significant shift in Chumlee's public image. He was no longer the carefree or naive figure viewers had seen on screen, but a grown man learning how to confront his mistakes and seek redemption. Chumlee also admitted that fame and the life of a public figure had clouded his judgment, leading him to make mistakes that could cost him everything. Chumlee also shared that he is now focusing on recovery and making better choices in life. The show has been my family for many years, and I hope one day to make them proud, he said. While there has been no official announcement regarding his return to Pawn Stars, there are indications that the History Channel may be leaving the door open for him after his recovery. Chumlee is currently focused on meeting the court's requirements and working on legitimate projects, committed to rebuilding his life. This change marks not only a turning point in Chumlee's career, but also a new opportunity for him. His story has evolved into an inspiration, reminding us that while fame doesn't cause mistakes, it's how we rise after falling that truly defines us. If Chumlee does return, it will be the result of a journey filled with determination, sincerity, and the unwavering support of his fans. So, we've delved into the intense events surrounding Chumlee and the courtroom moment where he collapsed after hearing his sentence. This story has been both shocking and eye-opening, offering a glimpse into the challenges stars face beyond the spotlight. Chumlee has undergone many changes, and his journey hasn't always been smooth. His story serves as a reminder that fame doesn't shield anyone from life's hardships. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more inspiring stories. Share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that no one saw coming. A jaw-dropping twist in the life of a man millions once admired. Rick Harrison, the legendary face of Pawn Stars, has just been sentenced to life in prison. Yes, you heard that right. The savvy businessman known for his quick deals and deep knowledge of antiques is now at the heart of a criminal scandal that's rocked the nation. It's almost unimaginable. The man who turned a small pawn shop into a TV empire now finds himself behind bars. How did it all go so wrong? The story behind the scandal isn't just shocking. It's a whirlwind of unexpected twists that no one saw coming. Join us as we take a deep dive into the explosive details of the case that brought down a reality TV icon. What really led to Rick Harrison's dramatic fall from grace? As we unravel the layers of this gripping case, we'll explore how one man's empire crumbled and how it's reshaping the way we see fame, influence, and trust in the entertainment industry. If you're as stunned as we are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're bringing you a jaw-dropping story that you won't want to miss. If this video catches your interest, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so you're always in the loop for more thrilling content. Now, let's dive right into this captivating story. Rick Harrison, star of Pawn Stars, faced a massive legal battle after being accused of tax evasion, money laundering, and trafficking in stolen artifacts. Despite mounting evidence, including texts and testimonies implicating him in shady deals, Rick denied all charges, claiming he was the victim of a politically motivated conspiracy. As the case unfolded, public opinion divided, with some supporting him while others questioned his reputation. The fate of Pawn Stars remained uncertain as the network navigated the legal storm surrounding its star. Rick Harrison's fans rallied quickly, with hashtags like #HatFreyRick and #Dacketer trending across social media. Supporters gathered outside the courthouse, waving signs and chanting for the downfall of Pawn Stars. The shocking verdict handed to Rick stunned millions of fans worldwide. His fall from grace felt like a punch to the gut. He wasn't just a TV personality. He was a cultural figure who made history meaningful to everyday people. The man behind Pawn Stars, known for his sharp business instincts and genuine appreciation for the past, had now become the subject of a scandal that changed everything. But that carefully crafted image crumbled as Rick's legal troubles escalated, casting a dark shadow over the empire he had spent decades building. The final verdict hit like a bolt of lightning in the courtroom, the tension thick as the judge prepared to announce the sentence. Rick, who had remained stoic throughout the trial, turned pale when the verdict was read. His son, Corey, sat just behind him, his head buried in his hands, struggling to process the moment. Longtime friend and loyal fan Chumlee quietly stood up and walked out, tears streaming down his face as the reality of the situation set in. Even seasoned legal analysts were left in shock at the severity of the sentence, with some calling it excessively harsh. But the judge was clear in their words. This case was about more than just financial crimes. You introduced yourself to the American public as a guardian of history, the judge stated. But in reality, you participated in an illegal network, contributing to the systematic looting and destruction of priceless cultural treasures for personal gain. The weight of these words left a profound impact on everyone in the courtroom, as the reality of Rick Harrison's actions fully sank in. Even amid the chaos, one thing was certain. Rick Harrison's fall from grace had become an undeniable spectacle. "This court cannot overlook the severity of your actions," the judge had proclaimed, and those words would echo in the minds of millions. The moment marked the end of his career as the beloved face of Pawn Stars, and the world watched as it all unraveled. Denied bail during the appeal process, Rick was escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs, his head bowed and jaw set, while the crowd outside erupted into a storm of anger and support. Within hours, the image of him walking out in cuffs flooded headlines and social media, solidifying the shocking end of his empire. The man who once epitomized sharp deals and history's value was now a cautionary tale. A segment of the public refused to turn their backs on him. Support groups began forming on social media, with fans passionately defending Rick and sharing what Pawn Stars had meant to them. "Rick taught me how to love history in a way that school never could," one fan shared. "We won't forget everything he brought to our lives, no matter what happens." This loyal following refused to let the scandal define his legacy. If you found this video full of surprises and want to learn more exciting things, leave a comment with the number 1. If not, leave a comment with the number 0. Now, let's continue the story. To them, Pawn Stars was not just entertainment. It was a bridge to the past, one antique at a time. Rick Harrison, despite the allegations, had brought history to life for millions. His fans continued to hold on to the image of the man who had made history accessible and fascinating. Rick's legal team wasted no time and immediately filed an appeal, arguing that the sentence was too severe for a nonviolent crime and violated his civil rights. However, the judge denied their request to release Rick on bail while awaiting the appeal. The saga of Rick Harrison, once a beloved TV star, continued to unravel as the legal battle progressed. Rick Harrison, denied. Was this the end of a legacy, or could there still be a redemption arc in the making? For many, the fall of Rick Harrison came as an unexpected blow, shocking and disheartening. He had been the trusted face of Pawn Stars, the man who made history captivating and relatable. His sharp business sense and seemingly honest persona had made him a household name. Now, that once untouchable legacy was overshadowed by federal charges, a high-profile trial, and a life sentence. For some, it marked the tragic end of a once great career, while others still held onto the hope that redemption could come with time. Loyal fans of Rick Harrison were quick to raise red flags, questioning the timing and motives behind the investigation. To them, Rick wasn't a criminal. He was a scapegoat, ensnared in the complexities of a corrupt and often unregulated global artifact trade. Many viewed him as a victim of forces far larger than himself. On the other hand, cultural historians and heritage experts welcomed the judge's harsh sentence, seeing it as a long overdue reckoning. For them, the case represented a crucial turning point, a wake-up call for a market that had, for too long, turned a blind eye to looting, forgeries, and the theft of priceless cultural treasures. They launched the Hearts for Harrison campaign, which rapidly gained momentum, collecting over 100,000 signatures on a petition urging the review of Rick Harrison's sentence. "We're not saying Rick is perfect," said campaign organizer Melissa Jenkins, "but this isn't justice, it's retribution. A life sentence for a nonviolent crime? That's not right." Rick's son, Corey, voiced his support for his father, adding, "My dad made mistakes, but he doesn't deserve to die in prison. He deserves a second chance." The campaign quickly became a rallying cry for those who believed that Rick's punishment was disproportionate to his alleged crimes, sparking debates across social media and in legal circles about the fairness of the justice system. The History Channel officially severed ties with Rick Harrison, canceling Pawn Stars and halting all reruns. In a brief but pointed statement, the network expressed deep disappointment in the scandal and reaffirmed its commitment to respecting cultural legacy. While the gold and silver pawn shop remained open, its once thriving reputation quickly diminished. Foot traffic sharply declined, and what was once a bustling Vegas hotspot became a symbol of controversy and scandal. For many, the allure of the pawn shop had vanished, overshadowed by the dark cloud of the ongoing legal battles and the dramatic fall from grace of its iconic owner. Corey Harrison stepped up in a way that shocked critics who had long viewed him as impulsive and inexperienced on screen. Taking the reins of the gold and silver pawn shop, Corey quickly demonstrated a sharp business mind. He reorganized the store's operations, implemented rigorous artifact verification protocols, and initiated partnerships with museums and educational institutions to promote ethical collecting practices. "We're striving to be part of the solution, not the problem," Corey said in an emotional interview 6 months after his father's sentencing. "We can't erase the past, but we can move forward with integrity." His actions signaled a fresh direction for the shop, one grounded in responsibility and a commitment to preserving the legacy of history while learning from past mistakes. Chumlee, Rick's longtime friend and fan favorite, opened up about the emotional toll the entire situation had taken. "I've learned everything I know about business from Rick," he said in a heartfelt interview on a podcast. "But I also have to accept that maybe there was a side of him I didn't see or didn't want to see." Despite the challenges, the Harrison family's focus shifted to supporting Rick during the appeal process and working to restore the reputation of the iconic pawn shop that helped redefine reality TV to maintain morale. Weekly prayer sessions were held every Sunday outside the gold and silver pawn shop. Loyal fans, some local, others traveling from hundreds of miles away, gathered with signs, shared their personal stories, and offered prayers for Rick's redemption. For those unable to attend in person, the family encouraged supporters to send letters, cards, and Pawn Stars memorabilia as tokens of solidarity. It became a movement of support and hope as the legacy of Pawn Stars, once a symbol of scandal, slowly began its healing process. "Small gestures like that mean a lot to someone going through the darkest time of their life," Corey said in a recent press release. "And trust me, my dad feels that love." Despite everything, Corey remained optimistic. "My dad taught me everything about business, about values. Yes, we made a huge mistake, but this shop has been a part of Las Vegas for 30 years, and I'm going to fight to make sure it's here for another 30. Rick Harrison's journey is now one of great contrast, starting as a struggling high school dropout, rising to become a reality TV icon, and now caught in the center of a shocking legal saga. His story has taken on the weight of a modern-day Shakespearean tragedy, a man who was once revered for his love of history, only to see his world unravel because of it. The question now remains, can his legacy be salvaged, or will it forever hang in the balance? This dramatic turn of events has shaken not only the reality TV world, but has also sent the once thriving Harrison family business into turmoil. Without Rick Harrison, the sharp, pragmatic figure at its core, the gold and silver pawn shop has found itself navigating unfamiliar waters. Rick wasn't just the face of Pawn Stars, he was its heartbeat. Now, as he faces the fight of his life from behind bars, the absence of his leadership and charisma is deeply felt by everyone involved, leaving a void that's hard to fill. The shop, once a bustling hub of history, deals, and entertainment, now faces an uncertain future as it grapples with the aftermath of his fall from grace. In this challenging time, Rick needs the support of the fans who have stood by him for so many years. Whether you admire his negotiating skills, his passion for history, or the life lessons shared between deals, now is the time to show that admiration. The Harrison family has launched a dedicated website where supporters can send messages of encouragement to Rick, with each one being forwarded directly to him in prison. This is an opportunity for fans to remind Rick that, despite the hardships, he's not alone and that his legacy is still cherished by many. They also provided an address for those who preferred to send handwritten letters, hoping each envelope would bring a bright moment in a dark chapter, according to the family. These letters and messages have become a lifeline for Rick. He's always deeply cared about the fans of Pawn Stars, and the family recently stated in a press release that he knows your support is more important than ever. While the legal system is unfolding, the Harrison family remains strong. Corey continues to lead the shop with a renewed focus on integrity and education, ensuring that the gold and silver pawn shop remains a staple in the Las Vegas community. Fans around the world now wait, wondering if Rick can clear his name or if the empire he built will be handed over to new management entirely. Through it all, the Harrison family's resilience shines, holding on to the hope that Rick will eventually rise above the turmoil and reclaim his place in the legacy he's spent decades building. Rick Harrison, born on March 22, 1965, in Lexington, North Carolina, went from a high school dropout to becoming a pawn shop mogul. His early life wasn't exactly a fairy tale. When he was just 2 years old, his family relocated to sunny San Diego, but the move didn't guarantee a smooth ride for the young Rick. Diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 8, Rick found himself spending more time immersed in books than in classrooms. While he missed out on school, he made up for it by devouring historical texts like a young scholar. By 10th grade, Rick made the decision to drop out. Rather than fading into obscurity, he channeled his energy into learning the street-smart way. He dedicated himself to mastering business and history, honing a keen eye for spotting value and authenticity. Rick's hustle gained momentum when he teamed up with his father, Richard Benjamin, better known as the Old Man Harrison, laying the groundwork for what would eventually become a television empire. Years of buying, selling, and appraising fine items transformed Rick into a walking treasure trove of knowledge, sharpening his instincts to the point where he could turn a pawn shop into a cultural phenomenon. From high school dropout to reality TV mogul, Rick Harrison's rise was anything but ordinary. Rick Harrison's rise to fame was far from ordinary. From a teen dad to a TV tycoon, his wild ride began at 17 when his girlfriend, Kim, became pregnant, and the young couple tied the knot. Suddenly thrust into fatherhood, Rick embraced the responsibility with determination, setting the stage for the ambitious journey that would follow. Rick and Kim had 2 sons, Corey and Adam. However, after 8 years marked by turmoil, their marriage ended in divorce in 1981. Seeking a new beginning, Rick moved with his family to Las Vegas. It was in this vibrant city that Rick's famously no-nonsense father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, opened the gold and silver pawn shop in 1989, setting the stage for a new chapter in their lives. What started as a modest shop eventually evolved into the iconic gold and silver pawn shop, now the centerpiece of one of the most surprising reality TV success stories, Pawn Stars. However, those early years weren't without their challenges. Rick and his father faced difficult customers, shady deals, and more than a few dangerous situations along the way. Despite the challenges, Rick sharpened his street smarts, established a reputation for honesty, and became the go-to expert in Las Vegas for rare artifacts and collectibles. Observing the inherent drama and intrigue of the pawn world, Rick had a breakthrough idea. Why not turn it all into a reality TV show? Initially, networks weren't sold on the idea, but Rick wasn't one to take no for an answer. After years of persistence, Pawn Stars finally landed a deal with the History Channel. When it premiered in 2009, the show's viewership soared. Audiences were hooked by the fascinating deals and the rich backstories behind everything from Civil War pistols to vintage toys. Rick, alongside his son Corey Big Hoss Harrison, his close friend Austin Chumlee Russell, and the no-nonsense old man, brought a unique blend of humor and education into millions of living rooms. Rick's no-nonsense attitude and sharp eye for value quickly made him a breakout star. His iconic catchphrase, "The best I can do is," became a pop culture staple. But Pawn Stars wasn't just about entertainment. It was a crash course in history, where each item told its own unique story and every negotiation was filled with tension and risk. From pawn shop owner to reality TV legend, Rick Harrison's leadership turned a modest Las Vegas shop into a global phenomenon. It all began when the gold and silver pawn shop transformed into a must-visit tourist spot, attracting visitors from around the globe. Fans eagerly lined up for hours, hoping to witness a big deal or, better yet, snag a cameo on Pawn Stars. As the show gained momentum, so did Rick's business empire. With the surge in popularity came a flurry of new business opportunities. Branded merchandise, best-selling books, and even a restaurant. Rick didn't just ride the wave, he created it. His reputation reached far beyond the pawn shop, with appearances on national TV, magazine features, and high-profile speaking engagements. Rick Harrison cemented his place as a savvy entrepreneur and modern-day mogul. On screen, Rick was the steady hand, while his son Corey took bold, sometimes clumsy risks. Rick maintained control, keeping everything running smoothly with calm, calculated precision. Fans admired Rick not just for his calm demeanor and sharp business acumen, but because he embodied resilience. This was the same man who had dropped out of high school due to epilepsy, the one who once struggled to close even the simplest of deals. Today, Rick stands as a self-made success story, a household name, and the driving force behind Pawn Stars. His journey from adversity to triumph inspired millions, proving that with grit and determination, anyone could turn their life around. Behind the fame, however, lies a deeply personal story, especially when it comes to Rick's relationship with his father, Richard, the Old Man Harrison. Their bond was far more than just father and son. It was a partnership built on decades of hard work, shared values, and mutual respect. Together, they didn't just create a business. They built a legacy founded on honesty, hustle, and a deep knowledge of the pawn world. When the old man passed away in 2018, it was a devastating loss. Yet Rick didn't falter. He honored his father's values and continued running the shop, keeping alive the legacy that had resonated with millions of fans. Rick's personal life, while more private, has been filled with both highs and lows. After his first marriage ended, he spent 27 years with his second wife, Tracy, before they parted ways in 2011. In 2013, Rick found love again and married Deanna Bird in a lively, rock and roll wedding officiated by Counting Cars star Danny Coker. The ceremony was full of fun, with Chumlee stepping in as the ring bearer, adding a touch of humor to the special day. While Rick generally keeps his family life out of the spotlight, fans know he's a devoted husband and father, always striving to find a balance between the whirlwind of TV fame and the quiet, meaningful moments with those he loves. But Rick's journey isn't over yet. He took things further by expanding his empire with the opening of Rick's Rollin' Smoke Barbecue and Tavern, located right next to the pawn shop. This move turned Pawn Plaza into a must-see Vegas destination, drawing even more visitors to the iconic spot. In 2011, Rick co-authored License to Pawn, Deals from the Vault and My Life at Gold and Silver, offering a behind-the-scenes look at the highs, lows, and wild stories that fueled his rise, from pawn shop mogul to federal target. This marked yet another chapter in the ongoing saga of Rick Harrison. Never one to rest on his laurels, Rick has always been driven. As the mastermind behind the Pawn Stars empire, he turned a small Las Vegas pawn shop into a globally recognized brand. With sharp instincts and a deep knowledge of history, Rick has appraised everything from ancient scrolls and vintage muscle cars to shipwrecks, gold, and even Super Bowl rings. Each deal Rick made added another chapter to his ever-growing legend. One of his flashiest wins came when he purchased a 2001 New England Patriots Super Bowl ring for just $1,600, later valued at an astronomical amount. But that wasn't the only jaw-dropping moment in Rick's career. He also struck gold, literally, when he acquired a treasure trove of Spanish gold coins pulled from a 1715 shipwreck. These iconic finds proved that Rick wasn't just chasing deals. He was chasing history itself. Although Rick Harrison had the expertise to handle nearly any situation, he never let his ego get in the way. When faced with something beyond his control, he was always quick to bring in professionals who could provide the necessary expertise. This blend of humility, sharp insight, and an unrelenting curiosity was what truly set him apart, making him not only a fan favorite but also a powerful and relatable figure in the world of reality TV. But even giants can stumble. In 2023, Rick Harrison's world was shaken by a bombshell that no one could have predicted. In a scene that felt like something straight out of a Hollywood thriller, FBI agents, IRS officers, and federal cultural heritage investigators stormed both Rick's home in Las Vegas and the gold and silver pawn shop in a high-stakes federal raid. Witnesses described absolute chaos. Customers and employees detained, agents flooding the premises, computers seized, and rare artifacts confiscated. The raid sent shockwaves through the Pawn Stars empire, leaving fans and critics alike questioning how the once unshakable mogul found himself at the center of such a massive scandal. The internet exploded when footage surfaced of Rick Harrison being escorted from his home by federal agents. Fans were stunned. The Pawn King, a man who had built an empire from a small pawn shop and became a household name, was now at the center of a shocking federal investigation. Authorities were alleging ties to a complex network involving tax evasion, money laundering, and possibly even the illegal trafficking of priceless artifacts. The investigation was reportedly triggered by red flags raised by financial institutions and a string of complaints from former business partners, many of whom claimed they had been kept in the dark about the shady deals taking place behind the scenes. What had once seemed like a rags-to-riches success story now appeared to be unraveling in the most unexpected way. Rick's son, Corey Harrison, was at the shop during the raid and later told reporters, "It all happened so fast. It felt like a movie." Despite the overwhelming media frenzy and sensational headlines, Rick remained eerily calm, choosing to stay tight-lipped about the legal proceedings and the investigation. Even in the face of growing speculation, he continued to manage the shop and maintain his public presence, refusing to let the scandal consume him. While no formal charges had been filed yet, the case was still under active investigation, leaving fans and the public on edge, wondering what would happen next in this shocking twist of Rick Harrison's empire. Rick Harrison, the rise, the raid, and the reckoning. Despite the whirlwind of speculation and controversy surrounding him, one thing remained undeniable: Rick Harrison was one of the most iconic and influential figures in reality television. From a quiet, book-loving kid with epilepsy to the mastermind behind Pawn Stars, Rick's story has always been about resilience, intelligence, and the hustle to survive in a world of ever-shifting risks. His journey was a testament to the power of persistence, turning a small pawn shop in Las Vegas into a global phenomenon. But with fame came scrutiny, and as the raid unfolded, it became clear that even the most successful entrepreneurs could be brought down by the very empire they built. The reckoning is far from over, and whether Rick Harrison will rise again or fall from grace remains to be seen. But in 2023, the game changed. Following the shocking federal raid on his home and shop, the History Channel made the difficult decision to halt Pawn Stars and issued a vague yet serious statement, saying they were closely monitoring the situation and would reassess as more information became available. The truth was slowly but surely emerging, and it wasn't looking good for Rick Harrison. As the investigation unfolded, the once thriving Las Vegas shop, once a must-see destination for tourists, suffered a significant blow. Foot traffic plummeted, and what had been an iconic hotspot for fans of the show became ground zero in a legal firestorm. The future of Pawn Stars hung in the balance as the public and fans awaited clarity on the shocking allegations against the pawn shop mogul. Rick's team moved swiftly in the face of the growing scandal. His high-powered attorney, David Marshall, a well-known Vegas lawyer renowned for defending celebrities and high-profile entrepreneurs, immediately stepped in to defend his client. Marshall vehemently criticized the accusations, calling the investigation a misunderstanding that would soon be cleared up. He assured the public that Rick has always done business by the book, aiming to restore some semblance of trust in the man once hailed as a self-made success. With the legal battle just beginning, Marshall's words were a first attempt to control the narrative and shield Rick from the mounting public scrutiny. But then the real bombs began to drop. Investigators revealed they had uncovered evidence of an elaborate scheme in which Rick was accused of deliberately undervaluing historical artifacts to evade taxes, only to secretly resell them at their full market value. The allegations didn't stop there. Even more troubling were claims that Rick had knowingly purchased stolen relics, including museum-grade documents and valuable antiques, through shady middlemen. The accusations painted a picture of a calculated operation designed to exploit both the tax system and the very artifacts Rick had once claimed to cherish. The once untouchable Pawn King was now facing serious criminal charges that could tear down his empire. Court filings soon revealed that the damning information had come from a former employee-turned-whistleblower. This insider claimed to have been directly involved in the shady transactions and even detailed a separate accounting system specifically designed to keep high-value deals off the official books. The gravity of the accusations was immense, and Rick was arrested. However, he was released on bail the following day, allowing him to prepare for what would become a prolonged legal battle. Rick found himself facing a long list of charges: tax evasion, money laundering, trafficking in stolen property, and conspiracy to illegally trade in historic artifacts. The trial lasted nearly a year, with each new revelation adding fuel to the media frenzy. prosecutors presented encrypted messages, alternative financial records, and testimony from Rick's former executive colleagues that painted a portrait of a man who had used his empire for illicit gains. The courtroom became a spectacle, attracting endless media coverage as the once revered Pawn Stars patriarch stood accused of some of the most serious crimes in the business world. The rise and fall of Rick Harrison, along with the uncertain future of his empire, is more than just a celebrity scandal. It's a stark reflection of the fragile boundary between ambition and ethics, success and scandal. Whether you believe he was wrongfully targeted or that he must ultimately face the consequences of his actions, one thing is undeniable. Pawn Stars changed the reality TV landscape, and its impact remains undeniable. With Rick Harrison's legacy still up in the air, the lingering question is, can redemption truly follow destruction? The story is far from over, and as we continue to track this shocking and unforgettable chapter in reality TV history, one thing is certain: its effects will reverberate long after the cameras stop rolling. Stay with us as we keep following one of the most dramatic and captivating sagas ever seen on television. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and spread the word. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on any exciting new videos. See you in the next one. The courtroom in Las Vegas was tense as the judge delivered the final verdict. Austin Chumlee Russell, one of the beloved stars of Pawn Stars, was sentenced to prison, and the weight of the decision hit him hard. Overcome with shock, Chumlee collapsed in the courtroom, causing a dramatic scene that left the audience in stunned silence. His fall from reality TV fame to facing legal consequences was a moment no one saw coming, marking a devastating turn for the star who had once been a fan favorite. The courtroom was filled with tension as Austin Chumlee Russell, star of Pawn Stars, collapsed in shock after hearing his sentence. Once a beloved TV personality, his fall from grace came after a dramatic legal battle that shocked fans. What led to this moment? A series of criminal charges and legal missteps uncovered a darker side to his public persona. If you're intrigued by this story, like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates and stories. Chumlee, the beloved star of Pawn Stars, is known for his humor, laid-back personality, and his ability to bring authenticity to the show. Over a decade on television, he became a fan favorite, famous for memorable moments like purchasing a professional pinball machine and showcasing his own video games. His fun-loving demeanor helped make Pawn Stars a hit on the History Channel, and he was adored by fans for his unique charm and quick wit. Chumlee's impact goes beyond his memorable catchphrases. He played a pivotal role in shaping the collectibles market, helping elevate the gold and silver pawn shop's fame. His savvy decisions to build his personal brand transformed him from an ordinary pawn shop employee into a cultural icon and a major figure in the television industry, solidifying his place as a beloved star on Pawn Stars. Chumlee's success was built on his likability, natural charm, and authenticity, despite facing early doubts. While often seen as the comedic relief in the shop, he refused to be typecast. Instead, he focused on developing expertise in specific collectibles, proving his value and earning his spot as an essential member of the Pawn Stars cast. Chumlee's charm and authenticity quickly earned him a beloved status, making him a breakout star of Pawn Stars. What truly set him apart was his ability to connect with viewers on a personal level, making a lasting impact across the US. His television career skyrocketed his fame, while his strategic mindset and business ventures highlighted his savvy as an entrepreneur, building a strong personal brand beyond the show. Chumlee's personal brand flourished through diversification, including a candy clothing line and lucrative personal appearances, which helped him earn millions. However, his wealth would later fund his legal defense amidst shocking accusations that stunned his loyal fan base. As Pawn Stars continued to thrive, the show became one of the highest-rated cable TV programs, with over 500 episodes and streaming availability, cementing its place in television history. But with Chumlee's legal battles, the path ahead for both him and the show began to take a new, uncertain direction. With its high production value, Pawn Stars quickly became one of the most educational and entertaining reality TV shows. Meanwhile, Chumlee faced the inevitable challenges that come with fame. Initially, the public embraced the lovable, goofy character they saw on screen, with his personal appearances attracting large crowds, proof of his popularity beyond the show. However, the contrast between his on-screen persona and the private struggles he was enduring created tensions that would follow him for years. "I've lived two completely different lives," Chumlee admitted, reflecting the disparity between his public image and private battles. But fame has a way of making you feel invincible. "I was determined to enjoy every moment, especially when people recognized me everywhere I went," Chumlee confessed. This newfound confidence fueled a more lavish lifestyle, while Pawn Stars continued to focus on historical artifacts and high-stakes negotiations. Chumlee's personal life grew more extravagant, with luxury cars, a mansion, and a vast collection of sneakers and jewelry. His social media posts showing off extravagant shopping sprees garnered millions of views and helped craft a public image that starkly contrasted with the humility he once had. Starting at the pawn shop in the mid-2010s, there was a noticeable contrast between Chumlee's career success and his growing personal luxury. As Pawn Stars reached new heights, its viewership peaked, with special episodes attracting over 7 million viewers. Meanwhile, Chumlee's personal brand flourished with the launch of Chumlee's Candy Shop on Las Vegas Street and a successful product line. However, the pressures of fame began to take their toll, and Chumlee struggled to balance his rising success with personal challenges that threatened to derail his career. Chumlee often attributed his struggles to the sudden shift from anonymity to fame. "Going from an ordinary guy to someone who couldn't go to Walmart without taking 500 photos drove me crazy," he admitted in a rare, candid interview. "I turned to things to help me cope. It nearly cost me everything." This personal chaos stood in stark contrast to the increasingly professional nature of Pawn Stars. By 2016, the gap between his public persona and private reality had grown so vast, with the show continuing to portray him as a lovable, quirky character while his off-screen life became more tumultuous. The innocence that fans adored on-screen was starkly contrasted by the troubling reality of Chumlee's life off-camera. Behind the scenes, his life had taken concerning turns, marked by increasingly reckless behavior that would eventually make headlines. The most dramatic turn came in March 2016, when a police raid at his Las Vegas home was linked to a sexual assault investigation. "We executed a search warrant as part of an ongoing investigation," Officer Rodriguez stated in a press conference, with the news quickly spreading across entertainment outlets, sending shockwaves through Chumlee's fanbase and the broader reality TV world. What authorities discovered during the search led to additional charges that were unrelated to the initial investigation. The raid quickly became a hot topic in the entertainment world, with news outlets speculating on its potential impact on both Chumlee and the future of Pawn Stars. A week later, TMZ revealed shocking details that stunned his loyal fanbase. Authorities had uncovered guns, drugs, and drug paraphernalia at Chumlee's home, an alarming contrast to the upbeat, lovable persona that had captured viewers' hearts. The revelation was far removed from the humility and charm fans had come to associate with him on television. A fan shared in a viral social media post how this situation has changed the way people view Chumlee, saying it's hard to reconcile the image of the fun-loving, humorous TV personality with the recent allegations. If these stories have caught your interest, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Don't forget to share with your friends and family to dive into these surprising stories together. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about changing yourself through plastic surgery? Let us know. Watching Chumlee on Pawn Stars, he always seemed like the fun-loving, laid-back guy everyone enjoyed watching on TV. However, the stark contrast between his on-screen persona and the turmoil brewing behind the scenes was undeniable. In the weeks that followed, prosecutors built a case against him, filing multiple felony charges, including possession of firearms and drugs, with a potential prison sentence of up to 20 years. If convicted on all charges, these legal battles didn't just carry heavy consequences. They also posed a direct threat to Chumlee's carefully crafted public image as a lovable, comedic TV personality. The legal troubles facing Chumlee sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, threatening to bring down one of the most beloved figures in reality TV. The core of his career and financial success was now at risk. Court records revealed startling details about what authorities uncovered during the raid at his home. Along with a variety of firearms, including assault rifles, investigators found drugs and drug paraphernalia, deepening the gravity of the situation. Although the search was initially triggered by an ongoing investigation into an alleged sexual assault, the discovery of these additional items only escalated the legal and public fallout for Chumlee. Despite no charges being filed for the alleged sexual assault due to insufficient evidence, the raid exposed a lifestyle that posed significant risks to public safety. Prosecutors were now pushing for maximum penalties, citing the dangerous nature of the items discovered in his home. As the trial began, the atmosphere was charged with tension. Chumlee entered the courtroom, his somber expression illuminated by the flash of cameras. His Pawn Stars colleagues were notably absent, a stark contrast to the vibrant, comedic persona he once portrayed. The man who had entertained millions was now facing the very real consequences of his actions. The prosecutor's opening statement set the tone for the trial, emphasizing the severity of the charges: serious violations of controlled substance and firearms laws. The courtroom fell silent as photos of the seized items, including firearms and illegal substances, were displayed for all to see. Chumlee, visibly distressed, kept his gaze fixed on the floor, occasionally shaking his head as damaging evidence was presented. The tension in the room escalated with each new piece of evidence, making it clear that the stakes were high, not only for Chumlee's career but for his personal freedom as well. Chumlee's defense lawyer tried to downplay the drug charges by questioning whether the substances found were for personal use, as there were no signs of trafficking. The tension rose when the discussion turned to the weapons. The defense argued that Chumlee's collection of historical firearms was just that, a collection, but the expert pointed out that such items require proper licensing and storage. The courtroom grew tense as both sides presented their cases, leaving Chumlee's fate hanging in the balance. His actions were often magnified and scrutinized, leading to bad decisions. His lawyer emphasized that Chumlee was a product of his environment, someone who struggled with the pressures of fame and sought validation in unhealthy ways. They argued for a more lenient sentence, pointing out his lack of prior offenses and his role as a positive public figure for many years. However, The prosecution maintained that his celebrity status made him a role model and thus heightened the severity of his actions. As the trial reached its final stages, the stakes grew higher. Chumlee's legal team pushed for a plea deal, hoping to avoid a lengthy prison sentence. They emphasized his remorse and willingness to make amends for his mistakes, while also highlighting his positive contributions to the community and the fans who had supported him throughout his career. On the other side, the prosecution was firm, arguing that Chumlee's actions had consequences that went beyond personal mistakes, especially given his influence as a public figure. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, as the final verdict loomed over the once-beloved reality star. The courtroom buzzed with tension as fans outside held signs of support for Chumlee. Inside, the stakes were high. His defense team argued for leniency, citing his clean record and community contributions. The prosecution reminded the court of the severity of his actions, stressing that fame didn't exempt him from the law. As Judge Michael Davidson prepared to deliver the verdict, all eyes were on him, knowing the decision would impact not just Chumlee's future, but possibly the future of Pawn Stars itself. The judge carefully reviewed the details of the plea deal, weighing the factors involved. The courtroom was silent, the atmosphere tense as Chumlee stood, visibly nervous. He pleaded guilty to one firearm charge and a minor drug offense, with the remaining charges dropped. As the judge spoke, the gravity of the moment settled in, knowing that this guilty plea would shape the next phase of Chumlee's life. The verdict not only marked a significant legal turning point, but also cast a shadow over his career and the future of Pawn Stars. The judge also ordered that Chumlee be banned from appearing on Pawn Stars for the duration of his probation. The courtroom gasped as the sentence was read aloud, marking a harsh consequence for his actions. Chumlee, visibly shaken, stood silently as the weight of the ruling settled in. While he avoided prison time, the impact on his career and public image would be felt for years to come. Fans of the show and critics alike were left to wonder if this marked the end of an era for Pawn Stars. Chumlee nodded, his face a mix of relief and regret, as the gravity of the situation weighed on him. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, with many fans left in stunned silence. The sentence, though avoiding prison time, was a sharp contrast to the carefree persona he had built over the years. The restrictions placed on him, especially the ban from Pawn Stars, meant that his public career would never be the same. As the judge concluded the hearing, Chumlee's lawyers quickly gathered their papers, signaling the end of the long, arduous legal battle. The once-beloved reality TV star now faced a future far removed from the spotlight, forced to rebuild his life away from the cameras that had made him famous. Fans, still grappling with the news, were left to wonder. Could Chumlee ever reclaim his former life, or was this the final chapter for him in the public eye? Chumlee's knees buckled, and he collapsed, his lawyer rushing to support him. The courtroom was in chaos, with spectators and law enforcement quickly reacting. The judge paused, ordering medical personnel to attend to the defendant. The tension in the room was palpable as Chumlee was carefully escorted out of the courtroom, the once vibrant star now a shadow of his former self. The weight of the consequences, combined with the pressure of the legal battle, had taken a toll on him physically. Fans, who had once cheered for him on Pawn Stars, were now left grappling with the reality of his downfall. The road ahead for Chumlee was uncertain, but the immediate shock of the moment seemed to underscore just how close he had come to losing it all. The courtroom was thrown into chaos as Chumlee lay motionless, his body trembling uncontrollably. His lawyer and the bailiff frantically attempted to revive him, while the judge called for immediate medical assistance. The once confident, easygoing television personality, now reduced to a shadow of his former self, was a stark contrast to the man who had made millions with his charm, and WIS paramedics rushed in and attended to him. The audience was left in stunned silence, unable to believe the turn of events. The flashing cameras from reporters filled the air, capturing the devastating moment that was quickly becoming the most talked-about scene in television history. His fall from grace had reached its tragic, physical climax. Chumlee's collapse in the courtroom shocked fans worldwide, overshadowing the legal verdict. The emotional toll of his legal battle was clear, with social media flooded with messages of support. Rick Harrison's visit to Chumlee added to the media frenzy. The event shifted the focus from the trial to the star's personal crisis, leaving fans wondering if this marked the end of an era for Pawn Stars or a chance for Chumlee to rebuild his life. The History Channel, in response to the growing public concern, released a statement expressing their support for Chumlee's health and well-being, but also confirmed they were evaluating his future with Pawn Stars. Fans were left questioning whether Chumlee would continue with the show, with many expressing hope for his recovery. In the meantime, Chumlee promised to focus on his mental health and make the necessary changes. The industry watched closely as the once carefree reality star faced an uncertain road ahead. Chumlee's words reflected a deep shift in his outlook, signaling a more introspective and humble side of the reality TV star. Despite the scandal, fans and the network alike were cautiously optimistic about his potential comeback. The possibility of a redemption arc within Pawn Stars felt like a fitting conclusion to a story that had gone from fame to legal turmoil and now to a moment of personal growth. His new attitude promised a future that, while uncertain, carried the potential for personal and professional renewal. Chumlee's statement marked a new chapter in his life, shifting from the chaos of his legal struggles to a more determined, focused future. Fans were eager to see how his redemption arc would unfold, with many expressing their support on social media. The possibility of his return to Pawn Stars added an element of intrigue, with some speculating that the show could leverage his story as part of its evolving narrative. For now, though, the focus was on Chumlee's commitment to turning his life around, meeting his obligations, and proving he could regain the trust he had lost. Chumlee's focus on personal growth and health over a quick return to television resonated with many fans. His thoughtful response hinted at a more grounded and mature approach to his future, signaling that he understood the importance of repairing both his public image and personal life. As fans continued to rally behind him, the potential for his return to Pawn Stars became more about redemption than a fall from grace. The show's continued success and the public's interest in his journey kept hope alive for Chumlee's eventual comeback. Fame can have a profound impact on personal judgment, as it often brings a mix of pressure, temptation, and heightened expectations. For some, the spotlight amplifies vulnerabilities, making it harder to maintain balance and perspective. Chumlee's journey seems to reflect the complexities of navigating fame, the struggles with identity, the blur between public persona and private reality, and the consequences of decisions made under constant scrutiny. It's a stark reminder of how important it is to stay grounded, no matter how high the fame or success. What do you think? How do you feel about fame affecting personal choices? That sounds like a gripping video intro, but just to clarify, there is currently no credible evidence or verified report indicating that Mike Wolfe has been sentenced to life in prison or is involved in the death of Frank Fritz. If you're creating fictional content or a dramatic piece for storytelling or entertainment purposes, I can help you shape it accordingly. But if you're aiming for factual reporting, it's essential to ensure that the story is accurate to avoid spreading misinformation. Mike Wolfe, once the charismatic face of American Pickers, now finds himself behind bars, sentenced to life in prison following the mysterious and tragic death of his longtime co-host and friend, Frank Fritz. The case has shattered the illusion of their once close bond and revealed a dark undercurrent of betrayal, obsession, and secrets long buried beneath the surface of their on-screen success. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an update on this shocking case. We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the unbelievable twists and turns in the fall of Mike Wolf. In a shocking turn of events, American Pickers star Mike Wolf has been convicted in connection with the tragic death of his longtime co-host and friend, Frank Fritz. Fans were left speechless as Wolf was taken away in handcuffs. What many assumed was just behind-the-scenes tension turned out to be something far more sinister. As the truth came to light, a darker narrative emerged, leaving the nation reeling from the chilling details of a case no one saw coming. Authorities swiftly named Mike Wolf the primary suspect in what has come to be known as the Fritz incident. Just days before Frank Fritz's tragic passing, Wolf took to Instagram to share a heartfelt tribute, one that, at the time, appeared to be a sincere farewell to a cherished friend. But as investigators dug deeper, the emotional post began to seem more like a calculated cover. Unsettling evidence soon surfaced, pointing directly to Wolf and igniting a darker, more disturbing investigation. One that would unravel the truth behind a friendship gone fatally wrong. Initially, Frank Fritz's death was attributed to complications from a stroke, an assumption that aligned with his known medical history. But that narrative quickly unraveled when authorities discovered a seemingly innocuous item at the scene: an empty pill bottle. What made it alarming wasn't just its presence. It was the fact that Mike Wolf's fingerprints were all over it. Forensic toxicology reports confirmed that Fritz had a lethal dose of fentanyl in his system, a potent opioid he had never been prescribed. Given his fragile health, investigators ruled out any possibility that he had taken the drug voluntarily. Suddenly, what was thought to be a tragic natural death took on a far more sinister tone. The emotional climax of the trial arrived when Danielle Colby took the stand. Her voice trembled as she described the transformation in Wolf. Mike became obsessed with being the only face of the show. It was like he stopped seeing Frank as a friend and started seeing him as a threat. Her testimony provided the final piece of the puzzle. Frank Fritz's death wasn't the result of a tragic accident. It was the result of a cold, calculated betrayal carried out by the man he had once called his closest friend. Mike Wolf's empire may have been built on antiques, but his true pursuit was power. That quite prescribed to him. The final blow came when Wolf, cornered, snapped. "You don't understand what it's like to build something from nothing and watch someone else profit just by smiling at the camera." Wolf's outburst stunned the courtroom, forcing his defense team to quickly call for a recess. But the damage was done. Jurors later called it the turning point, an unfiltered glimpse into the deep resentment and jealousy Wolf had long hidden beneath his public image. In that moment, the mask cracked, and the truth was laid bare. Financial motives added a chilling layer to the case. Forensic accountants revealed that months before Fritz's death, Wolf had quietly restructured his company to gain full control of Fritz's intellectual property should his health decline. Even more damning, Wolf had taken out a $5 million life insurance policy on Fritz, with his own company as the sole beneficiary. He also funneled over $2 million in rare antiques through shell companies. To prosecutors, the message was clear. This wasn't just personal. It was a cold, calculated plan. Just 4 hours into deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict: guilty. When the judge sentenced Mike Wolf to life without parole, the courtroom fell into stunned silence. Then chaos. Wolf suddenly stood, his composure shattered. "You don't understand," he screamed. "He wanted to destroy everything. My legacy." In a violent outburst, he lunged at the defense table, sending papers and water flying. Officers rushed to restrain him as he thrashed and shouted, trying to charge at Fritz's grieving family. In that final moment, Wolf didn't just lose control. He exposed the darkness that had always lurked beneath the surface, hidden behind the smile of a beloved TV star. Chaos broke out as Wolf snatched a walking stick, ironically, a key piece of evidence, and swung it at a police officer, hitting him in the shoulder. 3 officers tackled him, slamming him to the ground as he screamed, "I created American Pickers. It's my life's work." Pinned down, Wolf's eyes locked on Danielle Colby. "Tell them the truth," he snarled. "Tell them who Frank really was." The courtroom, once filled with gasps, fell into dead silence, the weight of his unraveling legacy hanging in the air. Wolf's voice cracked as he shouted again, desperate, "Tell them." But Danielle Colby stayed silent, tears flowing down her face as she turned away. The courtroom had already seen the damning documents, evidence of Wolf's manipulation, isolating Fritz and alienating the crew. Even as officers restrained him, Wolf raged on. "I'll start my own show." He said I was outdated, that the network wanted him back. What remained was not just fury, but a man consumed by the empire he'd created. As Wolf was dragged from the courtroom, the judge leaned in, delivering a final, scathing verdict. "You call yourself a guardian of history, but you're nothing more than a man consumed by hatred and control. Today's verdict is justice for Frank Fritz, and for everyone who once believed in you." The gavel struck, shattering the last illusion of the man Mike Wolf once claimed to be. As the cold steel doors slammed shut behind Mike Wolf, his final words echoed, "Goodbye, everyone." Was it a cry for help, a hint of remorse, or just the closing line of a man who'd spent his life crafting stories, only to become the villain in his own? In the end, the greatest treasure uncovered by American Pickers wasn't an antique, but the dark truth buried beneath fame, greed, and betrayal. The bond between Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz was the soul of American Pickers, the hit reality show that captivated millions worldwide. Together, they traveled the country, unearthing forgotten treasures in barns and backrooms, each with its own history. What made the show truly special wasn't just the antiques. It was their dynamic, built on years of friendship, respect, and a shared love for the hunt. Their chemistry was undeniable. Wolf's smooth charm and Fritz's grounded, no-nonsense approach sparked genuine banter and disagreements that felt authentic. It was real, and that's what kept viewers coming back. Behind the scenes, the once solid bond between Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz began to crumble. The first sign came with Fritz's absence from American Pickers Season 21, initially blamed on serious health issues, including heart problems and chronic back pain that made filming impossible. But health wasn't the only problem. Insiders later disclosed that creative differences and clashing work ethics had been brewing for years. What began as a partnership built on trust had evolved into a quiet rift, one neither man seemed willing or able to mend. As time passed, Wolf reportedly tightened his hold on creative control, gradually pushing Fritz to the sidelines, both on set and behind the scenes. Production insiders whispered that Wolf spoke critically of Fritz to network executives, subtly undermining his longtime partner. Feeling increasingly isolated and betrayed, Fritz watched as the show they built together slipped away. The camaraderie that once defined their partnership had vanished, replaced by tension, resentment, and silence. While the show continued with its familiar smile, the cracks behind the scenes had become too large to conceal. The criminal case against Mike Wolf sent shockwaves through the reality TV world, throwing American pickers into turmoil. The History Channel quickly pulled episodes featuring Wolf and issued a statement expressing shock and condolences to Frank Fritz's family. Major sponsors followed, severing ties and leaving the show's future uncertain. Fritz's family soon filed a lawsuit to reclaim his antique collection and the intellectual property tied to the show. In their words, they weren't just seeking justice. They were fighting to preserve Frank's legacy and hold those responsible for enabling Wolf's descent into darkness accountable. What disturbed many the most was how Mike Wolf seemed to exploit his fame in the wake of Fritz's death. While posting public condolences on social media, he simultaneously launched commemorative merchandise, which sparked widespread outrage. To many, it felt less like a tribute and more like a cash grab. In her closing statement, lead prosecutor Sarah Donovan didn't hold back. This wasn't just a criminal case. It was a masterclass in deception, one that manipulated not only a friend, but millions of loyal fans. Investigators later discovered that over $1 million raised in Fritz's name had been funneled into accounts controlled by Wolf, quietly, deliberately, and without explanation. When the guilty verdict was announced, shockwaves rippled through the fan base. Longtime viewer Robert Jenkins captured the feeling of many. We welcomed him into our homes every week, trusted his sincerity, only to find out it was all a lie. Former colleagues quickly distanced themselves from Wolf, issuing statements honoring Frank Fritz and condemning the betrayal. The American Pickers cast was divided, some still clinging to Wolf's innocence, others firmly standing by the damning evidence. Danielle Colby, a key figure on the show, publicly supported the prosecution and announced a hiatus from her career in the wake of the scandal. Despite the heartbreak, she expressed a quiet hope that Frank's love for history and antiques would endure, even as the show's legacy lay in ruins. Though Mike Wolf now serves a life sentence without parole, the legacies of the two men have diverged sharply. Frank Fritz is remembered not for scandal, but for heart. A passionate collector with an eye for the overlooked and forgotten, his warm smile and infectious enthusiasm brought joy to millions. More than just a television personality, he became a symbol of authenticity, reminding us that history lives in the stories behind the rust, the dust, and the memories. In stark contrast, Mike Wolf's legacy is now irrevocably tarnished. Once hailed as a trailblazer in the world of antique picking, his name is no longer linked to discovery, but to betrayal, greed, and a chilling descent into darkness. What began as a celebrated career has ended in disgrace, a cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition can dismantle everything it once built. The trial of Mike Wolf, sparked by the heartbreaking death of his longtime friend and co-star Frank Fritz, sent shockwaves through reality television and beyond. For years, American Pickers won hearts with the undeniable chemistry between Wolf and Fritz as they traveled America's forgotten roads, uncovering hidden treasures and sharing stories of the past. Their bond seemed genuine, built on mutual respect, a love for antiques, and a shared sense of adventure. But behind the scenes, that friendship slowly fell apart, uncovering tensions that would ultimately lead to a tragic and unthinkable end. Mike Wolf's conviction marked a defining moment, not just for American Pickers, but for the entire reality TV world. What many fans had once dismissed as rumors or creative differences was exposed in court, revealing a manipulative and calculating side of Wolf's character. As the trial unfolded, it became clear. This wasn't just about ego, but a dangerous belief that success and legacy were his alone to claim, even if it meant sacrificing a lifelong friend. As the investigation deepened, suspicion quickly narrowed in on those who had been closest to Frank Fritz during his final hours. A key breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a crew member from American Pickers, who stepped forward with a disturbing account that cast new light on the tension behind the scenes. Simultaneously, investigators uncovered a string of cryptic and unsettling messages sent by Mike Wolf in the days leading up to Fritz's death, messages that suggested a growing resentment simmering beneath the surface. As electronic records, fingerprints, and toxicology reports piled up, all signs began pointing in one direction. Prosecutors painted a chilling portrait of Wolf, driven by jealousy, professional envy, and a ruthless ambition to reclaim the spotlight. According to them, this wasn't just a tragic accident. It was a calculated act fueled by years of unresolved conflict. For longtime fans who had once brushed off the tension between the hosts as a mere publicity stunt to boost ratings, the truth struck a devastating blow. American Pickers had transcended its origins as a quirky treasure-hunting show. It had become an unfolding real-life tragedy marked by deep loss and bitter betrayal. The charm and camaraderie that once defined the series now seemed like a distant memory, overshadowed by the darkness that had taken hold behind the scenes. What was once a celebration of Americana had turned into a cautionary tale of ambition, fractured friendship, and the high cost of fame. What began as a light-hearted road trip through America's forgotten treasures had slowly unraveled into a dark tale of betrayal and deceit. Mike Wolf, once seen as the charming heart of American Pickers, was no stranger to Frank Fritz's doorstep. What fans had long interpreted as friendly visits were, in hindsight, the perfect cover for a far more sinister motive. Behind those casual drop-ins and brotherly banter hid a chilling plan, wrapped in manipulation and masked by years of trust. The facade of camaraderie was cracking, and the truth beneath it would shock the world. Toxicology reports revealed a chilling reality. Frank Fritz had a deadly level of fentanyl in his system, enough to kill anyone, particularly dangerous given his fragile health. But as investigators dug deeper, a disturbing discovery surfaced: Mike Wolf's internet search history. Prosecutors revealed that in the weeks leading up to Fritz's death, Wolf had been searching for undetectable poisons and methods to mimic stroke symptoms, eerily aligning with the official cause of death. What appeared to be a tragic accident was, in fact, a carefully calculated crime. These shocking revelations sparked a full-scale investigation by the Iowa State Police. Undercover detectives quickly turned their attention to those closest to Frank Fritz in his final hours, and all evidence pointed directly to Mike Wolf. The breakthrough came from surveillance footage captured in Fritz's quiet neighborhood, Wolf's vehicle was clearly seen parked in Fritz's driveway just 3 hours before the 911 call was made. The call, made by Wolf himself, initially seemed like a frantic cry for help, but a closer look revealed something far more calculated. A deliberate attempt to control the narrative before anyone could raise doubts. From the very start, it became clear. The truth was being buried beneath a carefully constructed lie. When paramedics arrived at the scene, Wolf appeared visibly distraught. Some even noted seeing him in tears. But as the situation unfolded, a very different story began to emerge. Instead of mourning the loss of his longtime friend and partner, Wolf quickly began maneuvering to take control of Fritz's assets, legacy, and public image. The facade of grief quickly faded, exposing something far darker underneath: greed, betrayal, and a chilling question that carried a $6 million price tag. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that this was not just about a fractured friendship. It was a calculated play for power, money, and the ruthless manipulation of history for personal gain. Less than 48 hours after Frank Fritz's death, Mike Wolf made a startling move. He reached out to a lawyer, not to mourn, but to claim the rights to Fritz's name for commercial purposes. He also discreetly accessed Fritz's secret storage units, known only to a select few, which housed valuable antiques. Then came the bombshell. Court documents revealed that Fritz had left his entire $6 million estate to Wolf. The revelation sent shockwaves through Fritz's family, friends, and fans, transforming their grief into deep suspicion. At the core of the lawsuit was one pivotal question. Did Frank Fritz have the mental and physical capacity to sign the will? If the answer was no, Wolf's claim to the $6 million estate could unravel, lending credence to theories of manipulation and greed. The investigation took an even darker turn when Wolf's private journals were discovered. Within their pages, a side of him the public had never seen emerged, one consumed by anger, resentment, and an unrelenting drive for power. One chilling entry, written just weeks before Fritz's death, read, "Without me, this show wouldn't exist. He's become a burden." The events surrounding Fritz's death only fueled the growing suspicion. Surveillance footage revealed Wolf at Fritz's home late at night, just hours before he made the 911 call himself. While he appeared visibly distraught at the scene, the autopsy anomalies, his incriminating search history, and the chilling journal entries painted a much darker picture. All the pieces seemed to suggest something far more sinister than a simple tragedy. A search of Wolf's home uncovered a hidden safe, inside which were several bottles of unlabeled drugs. Forensic tests later confirmed that the substances matched the poison found in Fritz's body. However, the true bombshell came with the discovery of notes alongside the drugs, personal journal entries laced with resentment, cold calculations, and a clear, unmistakable motive. These entries revealed not only an opportunity for betrayal, but the chilling detachment of a man who had once called Fritz his brother. Mike Wolf, once adored as the face of American pickers, now found himself at the center of a real-life nightmare, not as a collector of antiques, but as a man consumed by ambition, greed, and betrayal. His chilling journal entries read like a blueprint for murder, carefully planned and executed with ruthless precision. These once-hidden notes became the centerpiece of a case that shocked the nation, exposing a side of Wolf that no one could have ever anticipated. The high-profile trial of Mike Wolf stretched over 6 intense weeks, captivating the nation and filling the courtroom with spectators every day. Headlines chronicled each twist and turn as prosecutors presented a damning case, methodical, evidence-backed, and designed to dismantle the carefully crafted image of American pickers. What emerged was a chilling truth buried beneath the layers of fame, a story of betrayal that no one could have foreseen. The autopsy report shattered the early assumptions. Frank Fritz hadn't died of natural causes, but from a lethal dose of fentanyl, a drug never prescribed to him. The theory of a stroke quickly crumbled as investigators dug deeper. What they uncovered was chilling. Wolf's search history was filled with phrases like, "How to simulate a stroke," "undetectable poisons," and "Can stroke-like death be detected in autopsy?" It became painfully clear this wasn't a tragic accident. It was the meticulously crafted plan of a cold-blooded crime. Further investigation revealed a hidden safe in Wolf's home, packed with unlabeled drug bottles. Forensic tests confirmed they contained the same toxins found in Fritz's body. Yet the most disturbing discovery came from Wolf's personal journals. Among entries detailing work stress and creative differences, there were pages drenched in anger, envy, and cold intent. One line stood out above all. "Without me, this show wouldn't exist. He's become a burden." The words painted a chilling portrait of a man driven by far darker motives than anyone had imagined. Courtroom surveillance footage captured Wolf's car arriving at Fritz's home in the dead of night, just hours before he made the 911 call. Though he appeared grief-stricken in the immediate aftermath, his actions in the days that followed painted a very different picture. Wolf quickly moved to seize control of Fritz's assets, pushed for the rights to his name and image, and gained access to hidden storage units packed with valuable antiques. The urgency of his actions, combined with the mounting evidence, reinforced the prosecutor's claims. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a cold, calculated act of premeditation. Testimonies from American Pickers crew members only intensified the growing storm. A former production assistant recalled rising tension on set, bitter arguments, and Wolf's growing obsession with complete creative control. One moment stood out above the rest. Wolf turning to Fritz and coldly saying, "You don't deserve to make the same salary as me anymore." It wasn't just typical workplace friction. It was a deep fracture years in the making, one that would ultimately shatter their partnership. Testimonies revealed a chilling pattern of emotional manipulation. Wolf had systematically isolated Fritz from the cast and crew while quietly taking control of Fritz's intellectual property and personal assets. His quest for dominance went far beyond creative differences. It was a calculated, ruthless plan to claim the show's legacy as his own. In the end, Wolf didn't just betray a business partner. He betrayed a friend who had stood by his side for decades. As the verdict was read and Wolf was sentenced to life without parole, a heavy silence settled over the courtroom. For Fritz's grieving family and the fans who had welcomed him into their homes for over a decade, the moment marked a sorrowful end. What had started as a celebration of American history and friendship had concluded in betrayal and loss. The sentence served as a grim reminder of how the pursuit of fame and fortune can lead even the most familiar faces down the darkest of paths. Following the verdict, the future of American Pickers hung in the balance. The History Channel swiftly pulled all episodes featuring Wolf, highlighting the severity of the situation. Their public severance from him only intensified the damage to the show's reputation. Longtime fans, once loyal and enthusiastic, were left reeling, struggling to process the betrayal that had torn apart the heart of a show they had trusted for years. For many, Wolf's betrayal was both personal and professional, tainting the heart of a show they had come to love. Meanwhile, the legal battle over Frank Fritz's antique collection, the very soul of American Pickers, added another layer of complexity. As his family fights to preserve his legacy and protect his intellectual property, the full extent of Wolf's actions continues to unfold. In the end, American Pickers' legacy is now split in two, one side marked by greed and betrayal, the other by integrity and loss. Thank you for watching. This has been a dramatic and heartbreaking story, and we hope it provided valuable insight. Be sure to follow us so you don't miss our next video. Until next time, take care and stay informed.